There was a couple of instances where he got a little physical with me. He choked me one time, and from there it like really escalated. There was just nonstop bad things happening. He like grabbed a hold of my hair and smashed my head into the back of a car. Growing up, I was a military child, and so I kind of was shaped by so many places all over the world. So the whole family moved to Hawaii, and that's where I did all of my high school. Whenever I was a senior in high school, I took like all of my AP exams. I think it was in like early March or late February. And then basically I had nothing else to do until graduation. And in Hawaii, they graduate like at the end of May. And so my mom said, hey, do you want to go on a like crazy trip? We like took MAC flights, which is like military hopper planes, and we traveled to Bali. It was kind of like a rule with my mom. I had expressed to her that I wanted to get on like some social media apps, but there was one like predominantly that was heavily used in Hawaii, and it was called Meet Me, and everyone on the island used it because a lot of foreigners would use it when they came to the island. And immediately I connected with a young enlisted Guatemalan kid that grew up in Nebraska, of all places. Of course, even though I was like on the app, considering that I was like freshly turning 18 and he was like 21 or 22 already, and he'd just been stationed in Hawaii, my mom was like, oh, absolutely not. There's no way that you're gonna go on a date with an enlisted soldier. That's crazy. And so he and I became pen pals like all through the rest of my Bali trip. We were just like messaging every day. When we got back to Hawaii for graduation, he was sent back to the mainland to California for some sort of training. And so we're texting still through all of that. My mom and dad, like right after graduation, both had trips to go on. I found myself home alone without parents to say no. I took that opportunity to finally get together with Eric, and we had our like first official date, glued to each other's hip basically that entire summer. Once they got back from their trips and they spent some time with him, they very quickly just adored him. He was a very charming, charismatic, easy to love individual. Yeah, we spent that whole summer before college just joined at the hip. And then I had received a full ride to Seattle Pacific University on a music scholarship. Of course, it like came down time for me to go to college, and there was just my first big heartbreak of like, oh, I don't want to leave, and he doesn't want me to leave, and all of that stuff. And very begrudgingly, lots of like tears in my eyes, got on the airplane, went to Seattle, and he and I were doing the whole like long distance thing. I was accepted into my school's sprint program, which is it's like a cultural immersion program. It's a religious affiliated school, and so it's kind of like a mission trip requirement for graduation, but I was really excited about just the cultural immersion aspect of it. I was like fundraising and planning and researching Brazil because that's where I was placed 2 weeks or something before going to Brazil, that I was able to go back to Hawaii. Eric was not thrilled about, like he was not super excited that I had committed my whole summer abroad traveling without him. And so we were really gonna like make the most of those just 2 weeks hanging out. I remember I had a checklist of things that I had to do in order to go to Brazil, and part of that was getting a malaria vaccine. I went in to get the malaria shot, and they said, is there any chance that you could be pregnant? And I was like, well, I mean, there's a chance, but it would be really unlikely. And so the guy was like, well, let's just do a test just in case before we administer these shots that you need. So I did a test and went across the street and was just killing time. And they called me and they were like, you are pregnant. It just felt like I was young and hormonal and I wanted to have a baby, but like there was still conversations where she was like, did you think about your options? Like, we're a pretty liberal family and I would have supported you no matter what you decided. Like, is this really what you want? Eric, I remember talking to Eric about like, oh, we have options, like this doesn't have to happen, and him telling me like, if we don't have this baby, I will leave you. To me, it was just like, that was like the end of the world. And I was like, oh, okay, well, like we have to we just have to do this. And so very quickly after that, he proposed to me and we got married, like just rapid fire. Everything happened really fast. I got home in September. He proposed in October. We were married in November. And then I had Ezra at the beginning of February, the time that we spent together while I was pregnant. There started to be some more red flags. He was going out a lot with his friends, like, which wasn't uncommon for him. He liked to be out socializing, drinking, partying. He would go to clubs, like all those things. He got a DUI on New Year's Eve. So once he got the DUI, the military base that he was on had a zero tolerance policy. And so they pretty immediately told him, like, you're going to get removed from service. But that really kind of started his spiral. He would drink and he'd get really angry. He would do weird little things like pinch me while I was driving, like under my arm or something. He'd like pinch my arm while I was driving. He choked me one time and I don't even remember what we were fighting about, but he just it just really happened fast. He just like snapped and was choking me. After he did that, I remembered I was just kind of like shocked and just like, I think I just was sat in one place crying. He left to do something, came back out, and he was like, oh my gosh, what's wrong? Why are you sad? Like, what's going on? Are you okay? Does something happen with the baby? Like, are you fine? This guy's messing with me right now. Like, there's no way. And I told him, I was like, you literally just had your hands around my neck, and that terrified me. I couldn't breathe, and that felt really scary. I don't understand why that just happened. He instantly like flipped the script on me and was like, I would never like put my hands on you like that. I would never hurt you. Why would I hurt you? Like, have no recollection of that. Are you okay? Like making me feel like I just imagined everything that happened. And so yeah, from there it like really, really escalated. There was just nonstop bad things happening. And so we went to see my mom off, and then there was like an outdoor parking garage that we had parked in, and my dad and brother were like a level below me, and we were on the top open air. I just remember like we were like tug of warring it. I snatched the keys back and he threw me an elbow, and I just took off running, grabbed a hold of my hair and my head into the back of a car in the parking lot. Somehow I got away from him and I climbed underneath a Jeep, and I called my dad and brother, and they came upstairs, and Eric was, looking for me, and they were both very confused. They're like, what happened? What is going on right now? And I said, he has been hurting me, and I've been trying to just like handle it myself, but this situation really escalated. And I loved him and I wanted to be with him, and so I couldn't see how both things could happen. I couldn't see how I could tell people this person is hurting me and then also continue to stay with him. At some point in time, my mom also found out. I don't remember what event that was. I think maybe my brother told me, like, you need to tell mom. We're still living in Hawaii. I think he was put out of service in May, and then he very quickly got a job in Seattle. Actually, he had one of his half brothers lived in Seattle, and so he moved off the island to Seattle ahead of us. Was supposed to be going to like find a home for us to move into and set everything up so that the baby and I could just come over when the timing was right and he was established. I was mostly living with my mom. At nighttime, Eric would start drinking and it would get really late, and I was a freshly postpartum mom, and we have like the whole nighttime scaries thing, plus I was up with the baby and just tired. Like little itty bitty tiny things would just be blown hugely out of proportion, and it would just get really dangerous. And so I was trying to spend as much time with my mom as possible and give space between Eric and I. In November of 2018, we took a road trip together to Nebraska, and we were just fighting off and on that whole entire road trip, seeing his family, and he would still on the meds even though he wasn't supposed to, and it would cause him to he was having lots of outbursts. I had told him, we need to get this thing right once and for all. Like, if you want to be a part of Ezra's life, like, he's getting bigger, he's afraid of you, like, you see that, you go in to hug him and he cries and says no. Like, I had told him, therapy, get healthy, or we're done. Whenever we came back from the road trip, and I was in a Walmart grocer, and someone was little Ezra in the cart, someone came up to me and said, hey, are you Logan Rosa? And I said yes, and they served me with divorce papers. in the store. Really shocked me that I had given him ultimatums, I'd given him opportunities, like all of these things, and then he did that. And I just took the papers, took the baby, and went out to the car. And then he called me and he was like, hey, do you still want me to come pay for groceries? I said, no, this is done now. I found an attorney and things started moving quickly. I got the approval from the courts to move with Ezra away from our house to my parents' house, which was like an hour away. I just had this like weird feeling. We had this giant snowstorm here in Washington, and then I woke up and I had a bunch of messages from Eric's family in Nebraska. So he passed that morning, February 11th. I remember I knew what happened. Like I knew that he had chosen to end his life. He laid out notes for me and Ezra, and he locked his doors and shot himself. And his note was really like just sweet and thoughtful. He just said, I wanted all of the best things. I wanted to be the best for you. And I wasn't sure how to, like, of course, navigate things with Ezra. I'm so grateful for what I have today. Life is more beautiful than I ever imagined it. And then instantly a part of me feels guilty because I know that my life is only as beautiful as it is today because he is gone. Not long after Eric passed, I moved out from my mom's house. Getting Ezra in school full time kind of gave me the ability to focus on myself a little bit. And so I started working and working out. During that time too, I started dipping my toes in the dating world, and Garrett and I connected on a dating app. Now we're engaged and have a baby. Now that I see what our reality is, I just feel like those are the things that I had to get through to be where I am today, because it makes me just appreciate everything that we have so much more.